Live. Cool. Get out my tzatziki that I'm too lazy to make today. Also just add a cucumber. Get up my bread. Get it ready. Cool. Howdy, friends. How's everyone doing? Welcome to Good Enough to Eat. Today, thanks to Teo, making some lovely Greek style meatballs. Don't be mad at me for not having the right sort of meat, because I'm using what I had in the fridge. Let's doing a good thing. It's what we do all the time. We make use of what we have. So today I'm using turkey. I like turkey for a lot of my meatballs or chilies and various things like that. And because it is a very lean meat, oh my goodness, my hair. I should put a hat on. It's a lot. It's getting crazy. It's getting that time again, folks. If only I could cut my own hair. How's that look? Steven made me this hat. Hi, Steven. Maybe you'll see this eventually. But thanks. Another thing I haven't been doing much on lockdown, I have discovered that I have not done hardly any reading. Mostly because that's the thing I would do on the treadmill, which don't have a treadmill, and like going to and from work, walking around the hallways at work. Got a lot of sass from coworkers about that, but never ran into anyone, so whatever, didn't matter. So, trying to get back into it. I also have a book club meeting later today, which is one reason doing this earlier. So I'm gonna have a whole lot to talk about because I haven't read anything. Started getting there. Books I'm excited to read, but yeah, we'll get to it. Anyway, meatballs. Got my pan here ready to go. I've done my mise en place, getting everything ready, so I don't have to do any use of the food processor on the stream, because I'm sure you don't want to hear all that. So, like I said, turkey, and because it's a lean meat, I have some bacon that I put into my mince here to give it some extra fat, but I'm going to be mindful. Bacon is salty, so I'm going to put less salt into here than I might normally do, because it's already going to have some from there. And this bacon is especially salty. I had some on burgers the other day, oddly enough, lamb burgers, because I had lamb at that point, and it was really salty. I was just snacking on the bacon, of course, as one does. Um, yeah, and very salty. So, anywho, so in my bowl here that I have already blended up in the food processor, just to get it to the same consistency as the ground turkey, we have an onion, garlic, my bacon that I talked about, 4 or 5 strips or something. It didn't count as the end of a package, so I just used it all. And some old bread that I, instead of using breadcrumbs, since I already had the food processor out, I just threw that in here to mince up as well. So, to that, I'm going to put this on my wood cutting board because it's touching raw meat. That's no good. But I've got my turkey. I'm just going to throw that in there. There we go. And then I am still going to add a little bit of salt because I need it. My little cute salt cellar over here. I'm going to throw in probably a little less than I need. No drug sack. Sorry. I'm going to throw a little less salt than I might need because I can always add more to it. I can never take it out. So I'm going to start light. And then because I said these were kind of Greek style, I've got my little Greek spice mix here all measured out. So I've got Greek oregano, cinnamon, nutmeg, small amounts of those. The recipes never call for lots of spice, but I think everything needs a little spice. So I've got some cayenne in here and some paprika just for smokiness. And is that all? I think that might be all. Cumin. Cumin's the other thing. So, because I also just really love cumin for some reason. My stepdad didn't like it, and I think it was a big defining point of his food personality for some reason. Um, but whatever. I love it. I'm going to throw that in there. And then I've also got a twist-off container, apparently. Lemon zest. So if you ever have a lemon that you're putting in, you're juicing it to make a drink, or you're making whatever that takes lemon juice, always zest it. So just get a shaver, zest off all the rinds, and you can store it in your freezer for a long time, longer than you would ever need. And so I'm going to throw a pretty good handful of that into here. Nice, zingy, fresh zest. And then I'll pop that back in the freezer. Use it for something else. Great in cakes, great in drinks, like if you want to do mix it with sugar and use that to rim your glass for a cocktail. It's also delicious. Just gonna go right back in the freezer. And then Greek would have fresh mint in this usually, or maybe some other fresh herbs. I don't have any. It's winter, not a whole lot of fresh herbs going around in this climate. But I've got some cilantro, so I like it. It's not Greek really, but it's going to give me some of that freshness that I would otherwise be getting from the mint. Dill would also work really well in this because I'm going to have it with tzatziki sauce, which is a cucumber yogurt dill thing. Delicious. I thought about making it myself, but again, I don't have any cucumbers on me. I don't have any fresh dill. I'm plenty of yogurt. Yogurt's great. I'm having it almost every day for breakfast with some keto cereal, so I don't have so much sugar, and usually some berries if I have any berries, or it's gotten good apples in this area, so I often just dice up an apple and throw that in there with my cereal and my yogurt. I'm just going to get in here with my hands, start mixing it up. Someone is chilly. Probably referring to some part of me over there, Vinny. Hi. No, it's actually kind of warm in here. Oh no, the hat. Oh, right. I put on the hat because my hair is dumb and long and doesn't look good. So I saw it on camera for 2 seconds and decided to cover it up. And also give a shout out to the guy who made it for me. Some of us don't look cute with long hair, Vinny. And that's me. Especially at this length, because it's kind of the length where it's just long enough to be poofy and not do anything that you want it to do. Not long enough to fall over. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about hair, we're here to talk about food. So, you can really do this with any meat that you have on hand. Most recipes I saw are a mix of either lamb or a mix of lamb and beef. Nice things about those is you don't have to cook them quite so much. You can cook them to a lower temp, they can be slightly rare. Or even full doneness is going to be less. This is turkey and bacon, so I'm going to do it fully cooked through. No pink. Never pink for poultry. I mean, if you're going to measure the temperature, 165, but I'm just going to cook them. And they're going to be fairly small meatballs, so, I mean, it's not going to take too long. I'll just look at it. I would say a time, but I really have no idea how long it's going to take. 5 minutes. Who knows? We'll see. I also had an egg to throw in here. But I like my texture, so I'm not going to use the egg. I'll use the egg for something else. I found a Greek-style sauce that would go on this that would use an egg and a lemon juice that I had for something else. Actually, that lemon zest was some that my mom had zested up. We were making truffles, as you saw in the stream a couple weeks ago, which just got uploaded to YouTube because I luckily remembered right before it expired to upload it. Still needs the recipe, but whatever. And we use that lemon zest to flavor the inside of our truffles. So speaking of things that's good to flavor, that's one of them. Ooh, I can start smelling my bread back here. Same bread that I had a bunch of pitas in the freezer. So since it's again Greek style, using those pitas in the mixture as well as to serve it later. Okay, so get some oil in the pan. I'm gonna turn my fan on. This is already on, because I was thinking ahead. So that's hot. Don't touch it. Throw some oil in the pan, and then I'm going to prep a bunch of these to get ready to. There's more fan because it is smoking. I will turn it down until that smoke dies down. If the oil's smoking, you know it's good and hot. Cool. Let's and start steaming. And I'm going to take a little bit. I'm going to make a test patty. So I will just make a very small one to fry off. It'll cook in just a minute, and then you can taste it and see if this mixture needs any more seasonings. Because you can't taste it because it's raw. So test a patty. My fingers are dirty again. Pinky is very strong. I will apologize if this one goes off. I will really try to avoid that by keeping my fan on. I'm sure you can hear the fan. That's loud back there. It actually works, I think. Get nice and small. Takes just a minute. Brown on both sides. Turn that down medium now that it's not smoking at me so much. I don't know what the best things I learned about cooking is. Don't cook everything on your highest heat. You're gonna burn it before it's done. This cooks it done with anyways. So you can see, cooked through, not pink at all. Fully done. I actually think it's fine. I did go light on the salt because it had the bacon in there, but I think it's fine enough. Pretty good for me. All recipes I've seen would also have pre-cooked the onions to get them caramelized and everything, but I like to have that little textural element. I'm just gonna work out a bunch of these meatballs, because if I was gonna drop them straight into the pan each time, then I would have a bunch that were ready by the time I started, by the time I actually filled up the pan. So I don't want to work quite that quickly. So I'm just gonna get about a pan's worth ready to go in my little balls. Trying to be somewhat consistently sized. I'm also going to serve these on pitas and sauce, so I don't want them huge. I used to go out and get meatball sandwiches, and one large chain will just serve it with 3 giant meatballs, and try to take a bite, and the meat will just flop to somewhere else, a nice little independent chain. And I don't even know if they exist anymore in those these days. But they had 8 small meatballs that you could eat nicely with your sandwich. It was just a much more enjoyable eating experience. So, if you're serving them as part of a sandwich or with bread or something, I would keep my meatballs on the small side. If you're going to a potluck or something, which I have done several times, I would do a similar meatball recipe, but I would put them in marinara sauce, and I would stuff some mozzarella cheese in the middle. And those are bigger because you're just eating the meatball with like a toothpick. So you gotta have it big enough to go around that cheese. So bigger meatballs in that case. Okay, I'm gonna drop these in. There we go. And of course, I will drop some more salt on these after they come out of the frying medium over there. And I can get my next platter of meatballs ready to go while those are cooking. Notice I have a fairly large chunky garlic. I do not pre-chop my garlic before throwing it in the food processor. So if you're not taking it down to a paste, which I did not want to do, I didn't want to eat gummy tasty food. It does do to pre-chop the ingredients to somewhat manageable pieces for your food processor. Like, it's not a whole lot of chopping. The onions, they're the big part of it. I just chop down into like 8 chunks, so half and half again. The garlic is just smashed up better than I did. The bread I just kind of tore apart into somewhat smaller chunks. So the food processor will do a lot of the work for you, not all of it. Just a little bit of help. Raw meats over here, so we don't want to contaminate everything. I'm going to go here and flip all the meatballs that are up the side. Since they're small, I will probably only need one flip to get these all the way through. If I was cooking huge meatballs, I would need a flip and then 2 more flips to get them side, and then probably throw some liquid in there, throw a cover on it, throw a braise in there, and throw it in the oven and finish cooking for, definitely these small ones are going to be a lot longer. And I will just throw some salt over the top now, because I have a little bit of oil to stick on with. That little 2 done. I think I'm going to do some more. That'll sit over there. We can use it for some things. So let's try again. Let's Marcus, the bread master over there, I'm sure he would have plenty of advice to give me on how to properly cook those. We're not trying to impress anyone. Turn that down a little bit. There we go. Some of these are a little lopsided, so I'm going to give them a little extra turn just to get that extra exposed there. Go offline. What else? Go online. What? Are you watching me? Am I being supported by my lover partner over there? Nope. Still broadcasting. Still good. Still live. Right? Someone's watching. You don't have to be too gentle with these once they get their sear on because they're going to hold together. So you can just move them around, make sure you got them all cooked through and not burning on any one side. If you're the mind, you can just use a towel or some oven mitts, grab the handle, shake it around. You've seen some fancy chefs doing that on whatever show. If they have a lot of oil or wine in the pan, they'll tip it and get big flames and get your flambe. It'll not be as fancy. Other good thing about these is there are some garlic inside. I can take one out, cut it open, and make sure that it's done. Because it's almost done. And it's all going to be done. Close enough if you do it. Another 30 seconds. Just see what the edges is in there. And then that becomes the chef's knife. Just a little discard plate over here for snacking. The prices probably aren't going to be so bad once it gets some of that meat juice into it. Or, if it's nice and crispy now, I can just blitz that up for the next batch and make some new breadcrumbs. So, that's just the way I throw something away from there. So that's probably good for something else. Or good enough at least. That's a good cracker now. Put it on a charcuterie tray. Have it with some cheese and jam or something. Okay. Let's get a new plate. Put this on a thin plate. Get this somewhere. We'll be running out of shelf space over here. Grab the tongs now because that's going to be easier than trying to grab them all with a spoon or a spatula or something. If I was smart, I would use the tongs in the first place to move them around and flip and everything, so I'd only get one piece of equipment dirty. I don't have to wash one thing. But we don't always think ahead that far. Drop these in, ready to go. Get our nice bits of caramelized onion here, giving it some more flavor. Keep an eye on the oil in your pan. I'm going to need some more oil after this batch. Again, we use whatever oil you like. It doesn't much matter. You want to stick with the Greek theme, and if you have it, I hear grapeseed oil is lovely and tasty and healthy, and has a high smoke point, so that you're not going to get that big pillar of smoke if you don't get the oil that hot. You could try to use butter in your pan but that has a really low smoke point, so you gotta crank your fan up for that one if you want butter. But it would taste great. Um, if you're gonna use a flavored oil, make sure you use a flavor of oil that goes well with whatever you're doing. So in this case, if I had an herby olive oil, like a basil or a dill, to go with the tzatziki, that would work great. Um, maybe even lemons, since I threw a bunch of lemon zest in there. But you can also just go with a neutral flavored oil, and that'll work just fine. So stick to plain olive oil, just neutral. That's the olive oil flavor. But it's not going to add things that don't go well with what you've already made. The other very brief thing, just olive oil, no olives. I remember reading a study a ways back about grades of olive oil. It was UC Davis Mountain Water that did the study of a bunch of different olive oils to see if they actually lived up to their claims of being extra virgin. And there were many that claimed to be extra virgin because from the first press of the olive, they hadn't had any heat used to extract extra oil. And there were several that claimed to be extra virgin, but were not. Probably used spectrometers or something, some high-tech equipment to figure out that there had been heat, probably to see how much the oil had been broken down, denatured by adding heat to get extra. So if you see something labeled extra virgin or first press, maybe do a little research and see if it's actually that, to see if you're paying for the product you're getting. Are you watching today, or are you playing GBD with Mark over there? I see him in the corner over there playing this game while I'm making him lunch. So that was 16. That's my tester, so 15. 16, 31, 14, 45. 45 little mini meatballs out of one container of Costco turkey meat and a few slices of bacon and an onion. So probably serve 2 wanting to do pitas. If you had a big pita, could fit 3 or 4, but this will feed you for a while. And it's pretty healthy. There's nothing really bad in there. Maybe if you're watching your salt, maybe then just don't add as much salt. Add some other sort of fat. Just use the fat of your meat instead of adding bacon to your meatballs. All sorts of stuff to use. Oh, if you needed more liquid, more fat, so use that egg instead of that I neglected to use instead of using the bacon. Turn. Let them brown up on the other side. You can tell where my pan is sitting because these meatballs in the middle are getting a little bit more color. Some of the ones out on the side. So maybe I'll rotate this one to the outer edge of my pan so you can get more perfect lighter down. There's another minute. And these ones over here have cooled off enough, and Marcus is complaining that he's hungry, so get him snack. There we go. So this bread should be still pliable, but a little bit brown on it, so it's nice and toasty and warm, but not this cracker I made before. You shouldn't snap off that. Snapping is for biscuits, not for pita. Still tastes fine. Loud, I'm sure. It's a lot in my ears. You'll mute while I finish crunching that. There we go. Don't have to listen to the rest of that crunching. So, got my tzatziki. You can't make your own. There's a million recipes, but it's really simple. Just finely diced dill, chopped up cucumber, some vinegar, some lemon, and some yogurt. Throw that on there. Get some of my done lovely meatballs. There. Nice and simple. If you had some fresh herbs, you could sprinkle that on top. There's some more seasoning if you didn't have quite enough. You can serve it with a nice side salad, Greek salad, green salad, whatever you want, but it's going to taste pretty good. I give it to Mark though. Because he's the hungry boy today. Wait for some feedback. See if he has any notes. He usually has notes. Yeah, you don't have to do that whole these. They're not really hard enough. They got their crust on them. If you want to go a little fancier, you could also, for some breading on these, do more oil in the pan, like whatever that is, quarter-inch oil, and do a club egg and breadcrumb dredge, fry them up, and then you have a nice crispy shell on those if you like that. Again, I was saying how these are healthy because they're pretty healthy, and if you went and deep fried them or even pan fried them, some of that would go away. These are going to be good as they are. Yes, David, the meats. These are the meats you requested, except you requested them on skewers, and I wasn't going to stop about putting them on skewers because I'm not fancy, I'm not grilling. It's cold outside. It's 50 degrees, well, it's 50 degrees now. Just looking at it earlier, it's low 40s. I wasn't going to go outside during that. No, we're not allowed. None of that song. Unless you're talking about the Key and Peele version of that song, where the guy tries to come on to Peele and drag, and she kind of kicks his ass. Hilarious. So we're watching Key and Peele on HBO. Don't watch it with your parents. There's some stuff that you might not want to watch with your parents in a room. Although you might have that relationship, or you can watch a scene in a movie with your mom, and it doesn't bother you. Maybe it's just because we had it on and Mark was with my mom, so. I don't know, it's hard to keep up these days. 2018 was yesterday and also like 10 years ago, so. Some of those years. You're going to pick one for your tester and make sure you get your one that looks the most burnt or least pretty to hold together the nicest. Use that as your tester, so your partner still appreciates good looking food. I think it doesn't in his hand, but I don't know, I'll eat it. Turn to wash your hands. And I'm only serving my husband right now. I don't think he'll be too upset if I didn't wash my hands between cooking. But I do have a lot of these. There will be leftovers. I probably will drop some off to my mom. And again, probably not the most offended person if I didn't wash my hands after But be aware of eating before. It's good practice. Wash your hands. Good for cooking and for not getting COVID. He's done. Probably turn my heat down a touch so we get a little bit more color in some of these than I wanted. We want nice, lovely caramelized brown. We don't want burnt. We want generally cooked food. Rub a little bit more oil. About half. And let some. I'm going to do as much as I did the first time, obviously. Just throw the rest of these in here. You also have to cut some raw meat again. Constantly on that, but you see one video of someone putting raw meat in their mouth, and you're gonna make sure to try to correct that in your own video. 20 minutes. Yes. I could use a higher quality headset for that. I mean, I could use like some higher quality all around equipment for this, but we're still new. I don't know how long I can claim to be new. This is number 5? 5, I think, since I had to skip last week. I do have some lights I can do back here. I'm going to have to set that up eventually, get a better microphone, get a better camera instead of just using my laptop. But this is what we have, and it's good enough. Once I put it up to the camera, it looks good. It's very glary back there, I can see. Good. So yeah, last stream of the year. I know I started in November, so it's not like I've had a big one of them. Kleenex. You just want to see my chest hair? Is that what, Taya? No, I had my whole spiel about how much I hadn't been reading, and I used to be a big reader. And my mom is still a huge reader, so she keeps saying, "Oh, buy me more books, buy me more books." And like usually I bought a bunch of books for myself. I'm like, "Oh, here's these good ones, read them." Is there approval? Mark has approved. He has come back with his plate requesting more. So, if you've been watching the stream instead of playing Dead by Daylight, you would have heard about the whole thing.
You haven't opened the champagne?
No, we haven't opened the champagne yet. Champagne is for midnight.
What?
Champagne is for midnight.
We have another bottle.
Oh, for dinner. Oh, apparently there's another bottle. I'm going to flip these. I'm going to make Mark another plate, and I will bid you all a happy end of this year, 2020. Hopefully you all survived more or less intact. And on to bigger and better things next year, maybe. My bigger and better thing is better camera, better mic for next year. But hope you enjoyed. I'm going to have a snack. Lunchtime, even though it's 3 o'clock. If you ate breakfast at 10:30, then it's lunchtime now. Thanks for watching. Happy New Year. And remember, it's always going to be good enough to eat.